freedom. The current Iranian regime is an affront to the civilized world. It's a disgrace, and of course, it's a terrible menace not only to its own citizens, but a terrible menace to all of us. All decent people should stand up against the Iranian regime. Their record since the so-called revolution has been horrendous. We'll never know how many people were executed. We'll never know how many people have been killed. What we do know is that this year alone, there have been 322 executions. Death sentences have been levied for things like apostasy, blasphemy, adultery, prostitution. Executions are carried out at times by hangings and stonings. And we have a regime that threatens to destroy the state of Israel, and a regime that threatens to become a nuclear power. At the same time, we have Ahmadinejad looking like he's accepted here like just another world leader. This whole issue of moral equivalency is a terrible danger. And that's why what you're doing is so important. Ahmadinejad is not just another world leader. Iran is not just another government. Ahmadinejad supports terrorism. The regime has engaged in massive murder. The regime stands against everything we value as a country and as a civilization. It stands against the rights of women. It stands against the rights of gays. It stands against the rights of everyone. It stands against the freedom of religion, and it puts that all at peril of death, torture, execution. The world should stand up against Ahmadinejad and not embrace him. And that's why you're here. That's why you're here, to stand up so that by silence we don't appear to be endorsing what they're doing, right down to the last farce of an election that took place in Iran, and then the imprisonments and the persecution that's taken place after that. The people of New York understand the value of freedom, of decency, of democracy. They're not overcome by political correctness to pretend that a murderer and a dictator is a decent person. You know the difference. I see the signs that you're carrying, and they speak the truth. They speak the truth about a horrific regime that does the most damage to its own people, but could do damage to all of us. It should be the policy of the United States government, indeed it should be the policy of the United Nations, that Iran will never ever be allowed to be a nuclear power, ever, under circumstances. If the United Nations is truly interested in a peaceful world, then it will prevent Iran from becoming a nuclear power. If the United Nations is worth the paper on which its charter is written, it will stop Iran from becoming a nuclear power. And if we have anything to say about it, we will do everything we can to make the point that Iran should never be in possession of weapons that can destroy its own people, destroy the state of Israel, and possibly destroy other nations around the world. Their actions are too irrational, their regime too brutal, their practices too inhumane to be considered in the nation, in that group of nations that should be allowed to have that kind of power. I hope that you will make that point clear over and over again. I hope this administration in Washington embraces it. And I hope the United Nations makes it a core of what it tries to accomplish. Maybe if the United Nations does that, it can redeem itself as an institution that is truly interested in world peace. Thank you very much.